revered opponent, someone who's going to bring you a much harder game. So I'd say my gut feeling is also with Team Empire, but I think that after seeing what Chaos did against Rogue, they certainly have upset potential.
They definitely do have upset potential, and let's see if they can, pull that little trick out of their sleeves again against Empire right here, who are trying to re-pick up their old form, make sure that they're competitive for that top four position and stay competitive for that top four position, as that is of course the most important, as that will qualify you for the mini majors. It's extra points for the 6 invitational qualification process. So yeah, Chaos a bit far behind. Empire still, within breath range.
I think this is the thing with Team Empire is, going into the last play day, they were fourth in the standings. Going into today, they're seventh. So, they came into EUL with a really good start. They managed to, keep their spot at the top of the standings there for a bit, and now they've slipped. And this is where they have to start turning things around, because once we get to the next play day, we're already halfway through this first phase, right? So Team Empire, they kind of have to win this out, but obviously Chaos are feeling the very same because they've had a pretty hard start to the season as well.
Well, there it is, the Monty straight away from Chaos. Vito bringing it, but then the 6th pick, of course, to the IQ, and that's a beautiful pick actually. If you look at the pulse being brought right there, but always to be easily spotted out, just like the Vigil. The ERC7, as soon as that's activated, that little sensor is going to be able to spot out the Vigil as well. And of course the Mozzie drones are pest, so the IQ is a very valuable pick right here from Chaos. Hope that Vito is going to be able to put it to good use, because if so, then Chaos have a very good potential roundup on their hands.
What's kind of interesting about this is even from the get-go, when you have a look at the operator bans, it very much differs from what we saw when Empire went up against G2, because in that game we had a mute ban and a Capital, whereas this time we've got the more standard Mirror and the Hibana as well. So the actual state of the gameplay is going to be different from that perspective anyway. And I'm very intrigued to see how that's going to turn things around. Obviously, we spoke about how they came to a draw last time here, and some of that may be down to the fact that you're not really used to having things like the Hibana and the Mirror available to you, and not really used to dealing with a mute ban.
Indeed, and as drones are being taken out, it seems like the first engagement already took place. It's always that is about 30 HP right now. Could have been potentially Vito using his sensor to try and maybe put up some shots, as Dan right here is present in that kitchen, wants to challenge whoever is outside that window. Seems to be Chate who's doing so. And Chaos have a pretty good clue about where they're going to be coming from. A bit of a pre-fire coming down left and right. Vito hoping to be able to find on Dan right here, is eventually going to be able to pick up that kill. So that's the start. Going to be able to get that entry on the board and give some space to Chaos to build upon.
Yeah, good opening pick there. Dan's been one of those players who, when he's allowed space, he can really pop off. But if he's shut down early, that can really be a hindrance there to Team Empire. Vito just waiting to get this shot, and he does. He secures it there onto Scyther, one of the top players here, not just on Team Empire, but in the EU League overall. And you mentioned how Chaos, they're doing very well to understand the positioning here of Team Empire, and they're being able to exploit it, as Shepard is the next one to go down.
Empire are basically being picked apart just a small bit. Like someone who doesn't like the, what's it called? The grains in his bread, just like picks out the little seeds, Yeah, some of these picky people. Chaos just picking them apart one by one. Only always in joystick left, and always is quite low, 30 HP. And he's now all alone. It's a grenade to come in from Cool Vibes there. It's actually from the roof to land in Cool Vibes. Beautifully tossed in. And that leaves only up to the Pulse right now. He does have a C4 available though, so he has that little bit of utility to try and maybe stall out for just a little bit with. But as he tries to challenge on that window right there, it's Vito that was aware of the fact he was using that sensor, knew exactly where the Pulse was, knew exactly when the aggression came. A little bit of a pre-fire to come in, and a very easy round for Chaos to start things off.
A very encouraging start there for them, especially as what we were looking for is this composure that we did see from them in the game that they played against Rogue. And so far, it looks like that's something that they do well. still a little bit early, and there is time for Team Empire to make changes. One of which, of course, is we're seeing them going to bring out the Wamai. And that was something I was going to note in that last round, because when we did see that frag grenade go out onto joystick, you kind of think, wow, in this kind of meta where you're really looking out for projectile play, you don't want to be the team who's getting caught out by projectiles, especially frag grenades like that. And so the fact they've opted to bring the Wamai for this next site potentially adds some extra protection from things like that. That could come in from Chaos. I like that adaptation. Now, obviously, they are coming to a different site. They're going down to Sunrise and Blue. And Team Empire, they mentioned it on the desk as well. They've been very good at doing these big, broad, wide roam games, and I want to see some of that. I want to see them catching out Chaos, because in that last round, it was Chaos who were consistently catching Empire out on those angles.
And now the question will be whether or not they're going to be able to repeat that, or if Empire has read into what Chaos is doing perfectly well and is going to be able to adapt. That's the big question here. Is Empire able to adapt? Because we call them a bit static, so every now and then. And this is the moment where they can prove to not be static, and for them to actually show that they know how to adapt on the get-go against a Chaos that seems to be much stronger compared to the start of the season.
Well, Chaos, they're going to start coming in. You've got to bear in mind as well, they're bringing quite a lot of smokes with them. 2 on the Gridlock and 2 on the Dockerby. And of course, those operators are also... Oh, there's the Pest going out. And that's a nice little bit of value there for always. And extra intel for Team Empire. But you have to remember, of course, these operators will be able to give extra intel in the form of the logic bomb coming from the Dockerby, intel on the locations of their enemies, and then, of course, those track stingers from Gridlock, which can control the rotations, able to be made by the defenders, which is something I said I was looking out for. I'm wanting to see more success in those roams, but those roams could get shunted.
I'm really impressed by how quickly Chaos took control of both Aquarium, VIP, Hookah, and Billiards. All within like the first 30 seconds, they were all already under their control, and that allows Renewals to just open up all these vertical angles, forcing Empire out of their safe positions, where, well, if they don't, they could potentially be picked up from these vertical holes. And as right now, Vito is aware of the fact that 2 people might be in CCTV. He's just holding off onto these white stairs right here. He's hoping someone might be willing to rotate up and give him a free kill. As Crying is looking to enter from the office. A grenade is being tossed in. At least they know that area is going to be clear right now, and the verticals are being used still to support Crying, who is looking to clear things up. He needs to, because it's his job right here as the entry fragger. He needs to go in first. Some more pressure being put up. The hatches are being opened up. There's not really anywhere they can go right now, as Vito's just holding off to this angle, spots out the feet, gets the first kill, gets off the angle straight away before being able to even be repicked. But one of those 2 into security. But with 45 seconds left, they definitely need to hurry.
And you can just tell the way that Chaos have been holding on these positions is they know exactly where the members of Empire are and just completely holding them back. Vito's going to be sticking to this angle, as always goes down there to Cryan, and this leaves just Scyther and Shepard remaining. The 2 highest rated teammates on this team, and there's those kills going to be coming out from them. So not going to be a repeat of the flawless round, but 20 seconds remaining now for Chaos. They haven't been able to get a plant, and they do have opponents here on the site. In goes that Toxic Babe canister, but it's not really going to do much, and Vito can finish off the round. But one thing I really liked from that from Chaos, and I think this is something that if this continues to be a pattern, is going to be a big problem for Team Empire, is they very specifically kept them trapped. You know, we had those 2 members in the security sunroom area. I believe it was Joystick and it was the Mozzie, which I think was always question mark. Either way,
yes,
it was. In that area, and so you know, you had the nade that went down in through the floor, went into sunroom. It didn't get either of them, but it obviously sent the message that that Chaos knew exactly the positioning of them and was preventing them from backing out, because that control on the top floor as well meant that it was very hard to move in towards the west side of the map, towards offices where they could have been caught out through the floor above. And so you also couldn't move in towards the lobby, towards white stairs, because as we saw what happened, Vito was holding onto the white stairs there, and as soon as they tried to make a peek, they got caught out. out. And that entrapment of the members of Team Empire, who have done such a good job historically of having those wide roams, gave Chaos so much control over that round.
If only Chaos had just a single EMP right now, they could have been able to deal with all that utility so quickly, but not that they needed it last time around, as you were perfectly explaining. I'm kind of confused. Like, we already touched upon it in like our pre-game sessions we had, that the attacks of Chaos that look so consistent, that look so well done and well put together. But like, they even upped it here today as well. These two past attacks, they just seem flawless. Yes, they lost 2 members the last time around, but it was still a 5-on-1 situation that they eventually won as well. And Chaos really trying to shine right here, really showing up. The season is not over yet, the stage is not over yet, and they might still have an opportunity of reaching that top 4.
You have to remember, of course, Chaos, they're currently sitting at the bottom of the standings, and they have everything to win and very little to lose here. Team Empire trying to claw their way back up. So far, it hasn't been going all that well for them. Obviously, returning here to Sunrise and Blue, and Team Empire have repositioned themselves to try and not allow ourselves to be caught in these similar situations. But once again, Chaos have quite early upstairs control. Seeing this positioning here from Shepard behind the shield at the bottom of Cool Vibes, so he can try and prevent those rotations that could be made by Chaos. The track stingers are on the stairs, which is going to prevent Team Empire from using the stairway. But still, that angle being held could bring quite a lot of value there to Team Empire.
It could definitely, but I'm a bit worried though. If one grenade just managed to pop in there, it's still going to be able to take out that shield. It'll just delay it a small bit as the fuse time gets reset, because the shrapnel is still going to be spreading. That doesn't get caught. Due to that, might not be as a safe position as it might look like right now with all those magnets in place, especially now Crying is coming in from the back right here. Taking quick control of Office now, trying to cut through into the sunroom here as he slowly creeps his way around. The hatches are being opened up. It's going to be some support from above. Always is hiding behind the bar though in the main lobby. Dan is there to support him from the bathroom door, able to hold a crossfire. Instead, he's going to, like, if he's going to get peeked, Stick with a little bit of a punch hole right there is going to be spotted out, but no real damage being done whatsoever yet. As right now, it is going to be Always that gets forced back into kitchen due to the above vertical play. But still, they're on it. They still have the presence. There's still no opening for Chaos, and that might be a bit worrisome.
Yeah, with about half a minute remaining, this is the longest it's gone without a kill so far. And as I say that, Joystick's going to be opening things up onto Shate. And looking like Team Empire, well, I was going to say might have the advantage here, but the trade's coming in and out. There goes the smoke, which means Red Groove is likely going to, there we go, put down the diffuser. That's going to force these members of Team Empire to begin to move in, but it didn't work out very well there for Shepard as he gets caught out. And actually, Red Groove going down to the smoke from the Toxic Bay canisters. Just Scyther versus Renewals, and Scyther can win that one out to bring Team Empire in their first round.
Renewals knew where he was. He just unads'd and an unlucky timing right there. Scyther able to, or Scooter, able to respond on that. And like that smoke canister was well tossed in. Like as soon as we saw Red Groove going off of that plant, trying to go for that peak and able to get that kill, he just was a little bit into the smoke, but he was so low already that he instantly got down and killed. So that makes you wonder what would have happened if he did not peek out from the left side. What if he just looked over the bar? Would that be better? Would that have been successful? Would Chaos actually win right now if that was going to be the case? Like that round would have been a 3-0, but Empire on the back of Scooter able to eventually clutch it out right there, bring it to a 2-1. And meaning they're still in the game. And in a map like Coastline, attack rounds are important, but your defense even more so. And if you get 2 out of, or 3 defensive rounds out of your first half, that's definitely a good place to start out of.
Well, Team Empire still have a couple of rounds to go before they are at that point just yet, but obviously some changes being made here as they return to Hookah. Now, they're going to be Team Empire, this is, bringing the Legion, so potentially trying to kind of stunt the push that Chaos can make in. We've seen that they're able to take control of certain areas of the map relatively quickly so far, but Chaos are choosing to bring the Capitan, and he was banned out last time Team Empire played on this map. So now they're going to have to face him, and if they're going to be based more closely on site, then he's going to have that, very, very valuable power to be able to flush out a lot of those defenders, open up the site for the attackers to begin to move in. They can really force the positioning there of the defenders, and that's been really the downfall of Team Empire in the times that they have been taken advantage of so far.
I think we could also highlight how Vito is currently doing 7-on-1, a stunning performance after 3 rounds. More than a 2 KPR so far. Let's see if he can keep it up or if he's going to be actually taken down by Dan. No, instead, he's going to be doing quite a lot of damage as Dan tries to rotate out to safety. Crying gets the kill onto Joystick. That's Dan now going down as well to the likes of Vito. Kill's not secured yet. But always in the meantime, he's going to be trying to hunt for that Crying that is lurking around in the office. Question is, are they going to be able to secure him eventually? Dan is managing to crawl all the way back. Shete is getting that drone in quickly. They need to move, otherwise they're not going to be able to get that kill in. There we go. Vito just in time. Also an incendiary bolt, the asphyxiating bolt used for that. That's maybe a bit of a waste of utility, but they just needed to make sure that that kill wasn't going to be denied by Empire with an actual pickup to follow up from that one. Smart play right there by Vito. Many would say, why don't you instantly pull out that needle? Well, you might get peeked right after you hear that little cloying going off. And just by holding that, you might be able to win that gunfight. Pick up another player. Unfortunately, no one peeked.
Well, it was a very early roam clear there from Chaos, getting rid of 2 of those key roamers on the side of Team Empire. You still obviously have Always, who is off-site. He's back down in security as he was before. And he's going to be trying to take these angles here as some of the attackers move into offices. But the point is that's going to give Chaos so much more control here over the map. As those Ash breaching charges go in, this is where Always is going to begin to move forward. But so far, Chaos have had really, really good intel on the positioning of the members of Empire, but it's not going to be enough this time, as Crying does, in fact, get taken down. There's the C4 coming out from Always. Is it going to get Red Groove? No, it's not. He didn't have the exact positioning down. And that means that still those members stand. But as I say that, there's a 2K coming out from Team Empire. In go the smoke, and Red Groove's going to have to go for it. But Shepard, he got that kill. Finished up there from him. Team Empire take their 2nd round in this series. And it really kind of looked like Chaos might have a good start here, a good chance here, especially after getting rid of those 2 key players very early on. But as they began to move in, even though that C4 didn't work out for Always, he could still pass on the information. And Red Groove was really in a position where it was quite pressurizing because he had to think about getting down the diffuser, but had to clear out the site as well. He didn't really have much support on his side, and that made him quite easy to get rid of. And so things evened up here. It's starting to look a little bit less one-sided.
It's definitely starting to look a little bit less one-sided. Empire getting back into it, basically due to missing out on that Mozzie. You're not getting out on that C4 as well as from the vertical pressure that now will be from below, and that basically forced them to, well, have to go for these peeks into the smoke. And you don't really want to peek into Shepard or into Scyther if they're using that SMG, or Scooter if they're using that SMG, because they have been so lethal with it already. Especially Scooter, able to pick up these long-range kills with the SMG. You really don't want to challenge him in a situation where time is in his favor instead of yours. But 15 seconds counting down on that prep phase, and we are going to Kitchen and to prep to see whether or not Empire is going to be able to take the lead right here, or if Chaos is going to be taking it back after losing these 2 consecutive rounds to Empire.
Yeah, and Kitchen is a little bit of a weaker site for them. When they came here against G2, they came here 3 times, and G2 were able to make the plant twice. So this is certainly going to be one of those sites that Team Empire have to think a little bit more about. I also just want to point out, you may have noticed you correcting yourself to referring to Scyther as Scooter. That's how it's pronounced
Yes.
in Russian. We recently found out. And it is, of course, a Russian team. So got to get into the habit. But if you're wondering why that is, because obviously I think a lot of people are used to hearing him being referred to as Scyther, it is actually Scooter.
It's been the default way in the past years, that we called him Scyther. But I was like, I heard some Russians tell me that there's actually it's called Scooter. So we just asked them, and they're like, "Yeah, it is Scooter." I'm
I
like,
mean, it's like I
"Oh,
can read Russian, so I should have known that, but it went
yeah,
completely
it's
over
all
my
in you,
head.
Gio."
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Well, regardless, you know, he's been doing very well in UU League so far, so you know we've gotta owe him the respect to actually pronounce his name correctly. And you can see Chaos, their opponents, moving in here upstairs, try and get some control above the site. This is where they can start to send in some of these drones and catch out those members of Empire, but actually it's going to be always catching out a member of Chaos first. Shate going down to that C4. Nice to see a C4 working out. There we go. Oh, rip. It's always sad when you see one of the dead bodies laying around, but good start there for Team Empire. The Red
comfortable.
Group's already actually making an attempt here on the diffuser. Is Shepard going to be able to stop much? He throws in the smoke canisters, but the diffuse was actually able to go down. Now Team Empire find themselves in a post-plant situation.
They didn't use a single PC utility right there, not a single micro smoke ball to go out, but in the meantime, it's going to be Empire to respond. It's two coming in really quickly right there. They need to peek wide, but it's being watched. It's a killer Vito to come in, and as they right now try to long arm it, all the Renewals can do is actually go for these pre-fires. It's going to be up to Vito to try and deny this. They need to jump in. It's Joystick right here to come in. It's a one-on-one, swaps to his pistol, but he's over peeking it. There's no time, and Chaos will win it. Renewals gets that last kill, and a very quick execute from Chaos. Beautifully played out right there. They did not use a single piece of utility, as they know. Like, they were looking at it. There's no Meister cams. There's no bulletproofs. There's no black eyes. There's no way they can know we're planting unless they're right next to us. So if we use this micro smoke bulb, they're going to be peeking us. So they did it without doing anything. Just had the cover to help the rotation, and they managed to get the plan down. Yes, they got a bit slaughtered afterward, but they still managed to continue it and eventually win it.
I mean, it really descended into TDM at the end there, but the fact that Vito was able to secure himself 2 kills running around outside, I mean, now currently sitting on 11 and 3, and given that Chaos the team has received a decent amount of criticism, and rightfully so, I think it's fair to say, so far in the EU League, is we know they haven't necessarily been living up to their full potential. Right now, they're really showing up. They did against Rogue last week, and they are currently doing so against Team Empire. So here they are on the last round of their attack. Are they going to be able to recreate things? There are brutal kills coming out here from Vito. Oh, wish I had aim like that, dude. That's just
10 seconds to go.
So you played some unranked earlier on. How did that go?
I was playing T-Hun. I wasn't even playing
You
unranked.
played T-Hun.
Yeah.
We're at that level here, all right. Okay.
Yeah.
Locate a bomb
Yeah,
and defuse it.
exactly. Well, Team Empire, obviously, they want to be bringing it 3-3 at the half. And if they are able to do that, that's actually pretty good. You mentioned it earlier. This is a very attacker-favored map, and 3-3 at the half is actually pretty great. They were able to do that when they went against G2. So maybe they'll be able to recreate it here and send them off with confidence as they head into their own attack. Obviously, going back to Sunrise and Blue, a site that they're feeling a little bit more confident on. And see if they are able to recreate some of the more successful results that they've had.
Yeah, with the main thing to worry about right here is Dan is kind of stuck though, as he does get pre-fire just a little bit. He managed to get the kill, like some damage into Vito. This is going to be Vito that actually responds to Shepard. Shate then to pick it down right before the execute onto Vito could come down. Meaning he will survive. He will keep his life to try and frag on for the next 2 minutes of this matchup, this round. The last time that will actually be on the attack today, because we do not have overtime in EU, still not. We're not going to be going there anytime soon, as always hiding behind that desk. Renil seem to know, as he's just holding off on that angle. If they just get a simple drone in, they should be able to find out. But Vito not completely droning it out, just quickly checked, but not actually expanding into the likes of the lobby. Now you see that there are some track stingers being deployed right there in the bathroom. That should help them with this control.
Oh, Always is actually able to get that kill there onto Renewals. Is he going to be able to get the wall bang? Not quite, but he does just get it straight through the door onto Shate. Pretty good there from Team Empire. That was then constructing the pressure that Renewals was applying. 4 gonna get anyone, but it looks like he opened up a large hole for that line of sight. And if Always can use that to his advantage, then that could be a good position there for Team Empire. And now it's time for Chaos to start to creep in. Now you have to remember the diffuser is obviously being dropped. Vito, he's going to be falling there to Joystick, and he's been such a massive part of the team today, so that leaves just Crying on his own. He's going to be going in, but he gets shot down straight away by Joystick there. Team Empire finished off at 3-3. As I said, that's what they're wanting to do, and that's what they've managed to do. So even though things looked a little bit desperate at the start, they've managed to pull it back.
They did indeed manage to pull it back, and we're in 3-3 now. Chaos versus Empire. Chaos started off really strong with those first two attacking rounds. Empire nowhere to be found, but managed to actually bring it around now, and they will be on that attack, that favorite attack now. And let's see if they can bring the same fire as that Chaos was bringing. Because if you look at Empire, it really relies on, like I said, Always and on Scooter, who both are not necessarily roamers. Always more than Scooter is, whilst on the likes of Chaos it really relied on Vito, who was basically functioning as the entry fragger, even though he's not really playing the entry frag role, as Crying of course is on that Ash Jaeger, but Vito not toning down whatsoever for that.
There's a lot of interesting operators being picked here, obviously here on the side of Chaos, as they head over to Hooker. Got the dock, of course. Now, Vito been doing pretty well on the ACOG, but of course you have the ability to provide those stim shots to your team. Also a castle as well. You can start to shut down some of those avenues of rotation that are available there for the attackers, waste some of their utility, which they will have to expend should they want to get rid of those castle barricades. And it gives you a little bit more room to make roam should you want to. Then, of course, the Jaeger Wamai dealing with the projectiles, I spoke about it earlier, and Goyo with those Vulcan shields. You see one placed just there in theater, and that starts to, again, use that utility of the attackers, but also reduce the amount of space they have available to them.
Worried.
Then, you're worried?
Yes, look at the explosions. They only have 2 Ash breaching charges, but there's going to be Goyo shields, the Wamai brothers shield. There is going to be these Wamai discs as well they need to work with, and they only have like 2 explosives and 2 grenades, right? And there's still castle barricades on the board, so they no way have enough like util on the attacking side to get rid of everything that the defense brings. So they really have to focus themselves onto one single point of attack.
Yeah, and there we go, like one of those breaching charges straight away used. That does bring down a shield, but as you mentioned, that's one shield out of a lot of utility that's on the side here of Chaos. And of course, that also means Shate knows exactly where to look down through the floor. Team Empire are going to have to be very careful about how it is they decide to use what they have available to them because of those reasons that you mentioned. Pretty well read there by Chaos, I have to say.
Indeed, good read coming through. Maybe a bit of oversight of Empire. I have been alerted, by the way, by our beautiful observer medics. It also took out 2 of the ADSs that were placed down from Chaos. So in that case, it's a bit of a better trade.
That's
using 1
good.
breach charge for 1 shield and 2 ADSs. Not that anybody would be playing there anymore, but you know, you always have like these last second pushes where they just quickly want to throw in some utility. As Shate now pushes in, we'll be able to get a kill as Crying was about to come in from the back, but this is a bit of an advantage now. They do not know someone is in actually luggage. As Crying is just sitting here waiting. He might be able to pick a joystick if he is patient enough. Scooter is on the roof right here. They seem to be aware as the asphyxiating bolts are being shot in, but will not be able to find the target as of yet, as they're just short of Crying right there. This joystick now wants to peek in. He's surely going to get double peeked as there he is. Crying will be able to pick up 1. Is he going for the second one as well? No, he falls. There's 45 seconds left in a 3-4 situation where all they can do is really jump through this little hole created in the aquarium ball.
Well, as you say, not much time left, and Red Groove, he's going to be taken off the board there as well. That means things are even up somewhat, and in goes that last frag grenade from the Yana. Renewal's holding on to this nice angle here, but it's only the Gemini he's going to catch out, and that's going to force him to reposition. Again, 2 kills coming out from Team Empire, and actually able to clean it up at the end there. That gives them a pretty clean pretty clean win. But I have to say, I was concerned at some points as well, especially the way that Chaos had this pinch set up almost to prevent Joystick from moving in. They had to rely on the utility coming out from the Capitan to be able to assist him, and even then, he wasn't able to get the kill onto Cryan. And I started thinking, it really looks like Chaos have got the advantage here, especially with a lot of those utility issues we mentioned. But when you're able to catch out those angles and those positions, in the end, that's all that matters. And suddenly that puts Team Empire here in the lead.
I mean, who needs all these explosives when all you need to do is just, run and gun in? Because
Just
that's
shoot
that's
gun
kind of what
low.
Empire do well, just shoot the gun and get those kills. As Empire showed some good gun skill right there, the superior gun skill in that round. And as Chaos right now will be opting to go for the blue and sunrise bar, it's going to be the clash that comes out as well. Now you're looking at the lineup of Empire. They do have those two asphyxiating bolts still, so they should, in theory, be able to deal with that shield. Also, 4 grenades, 2 breaching rounds, together with 9 flashbangs. So if they might have had some issues with these throwables the last time around, they will definitely not have that this time.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of just looking that because I was thinking also you've put Vito on the Clash, and he's been one of the most prominent gunners so far in this game. In fact, the most prominent, going 12 and 5 as it stands. No one else on the board has anything close to that. It's Scooter who's next up with 7 and 3. And so now you've taken him off a role where he can do that and instead put him onto this shield role where he's going to be relying more on his teammates to take those kills. And when you're going up against an attacking team that are very, very well equipped to clear out the clash, suddenly you can find yourself at a disadvantage. I mean, this is one thing Team Empire faced when they went up against G2, is they did go against the clash, but because the cap was banned, you didn't have things like that available to you to clear her out quite as easily. That's not a problem here anymore, Hap.
Indeed, not an issue, as they brought everything they need to potentially deal with this, and well, shortly they will find out. There is indeed that clash on the board, and I do see some of these verticals to be being held. Just looking through Garden, hoping that someone might overstep his boundaries. However, after many times people gotten killed from these kind of angles, I doubt any Pro League player or European League player is still going to be able to get caught off by that. At least it's going to become a rarity if we talk about it like that.
You'd hope, but you never know with things like that. So here we go. We're actually seeing a clash in our Maestro be based here on Cool Vibes. Just waiting for those attackers to come in. And you can see them placed mostly upstairs, but starting to move down. In goes one of the toxic canisters, but it's not really going to be dealing any damage there onto the members of Empire. But half the round is down, and still a lot of them are placed outside, waiting to make the move on in. And it's just looking here like Chaos are really preparing to kind of go hard as Team Empire begin to move in.
Get out
Still
there.
those explosions not quite doing as much as Empire would like just yet, but they are going to be that threat that does force them back. There's Redgroove. He's going to be the first one to fall. Team Empire need to start making their move in soon, though.
Could have been a double kill right there on the Cool Vibe stairs. That grenade was a bit less cooked as it was, but fortunately for Empire, not the case. Chaos is going to be able to walk away with that one. And as Chatte going aggressive right now here with Vito on that shield, he's going to be able to pick up one, but instantly gets taken out right after that. But always, who's going to go for the 360 here, but he gets the skeleton key in the face. It's going to be finished off. Tries to stall some more time by putting the shield to the back right there, but it's only up to renewals. It gets wallbanged by Scooter. It's Empire that win round number 8, and as prevalent as Chaos was in the first 2 rounds, as effective as Empire was in this one. Managed to completely pick them apart right there and leave nothing left standing from them, even when they try to rotate out because everybody has fallen. You just get a lucky wallbang in your face. It's not really something to be happy about.
I'd imagine all of those people, all 77% of people who voted for Team Empire, when they saw the first 2 rounds of this map, they were probably starting to shake a little bit, get the sweats, and be like, did I pick the right person? And now they're probably feeling a little bit more comfortable in their decision, because so far Team Empire have looked very clean here in their attacks. Even when they're at the disadvantage there in round 7, they were able to take it, and then in round 8, they were in that position where they kind of had that utility advantage over Chaos. Even though those, as you mentioned, the grenades didn't quite work there onto Cool Vibes, they could just turn around and shotgun Clash in the face. And that's always an option, but it's not going to be an option in this round because Clash isn't going to be brought anymore.
No, it definitely is. And I just quickly want to discuss something with you because I know you do like a lot of prep for like what every team does, and like the Echo default ban, right? Ever since that was being called into life, we see very diverse attack operator lineups. Do you think that's purely due to the Echo being banned, or more due to the meta shifting? Like, what do your notes say about that?
What do your notes say about that?
What do your notes
really
say? Get your notebook out.
I mean, I think the Echo ban is obviously has a big part to play in it because one thing that you have to consider with any ban is that bans come with certain playstyles and they come with other bans and they come with must picks. And when there is a really mainstay ban that no longer has to take up one of those slots and therefore you can pick other operators, suddenly a lot of those must picks are no longer must picks and you can start to experiment. And yes, there is that meta shift as well that is having an impact on the choices here. And of course, when you look at things just like individual playstyle and things like that, for example, there are a lot of teams who wouldn't choose to bring a buck in this situation. But I think the Echo permaban does have a very big thing to do with it because it allows for more creativity in the operator ban and therefore creativity in those attacking lineups. But speaking of attacking lineup, Dan's no longer going to be a part of this one, I'm afraid. In fact, neither is always, as Chaos get those first 2 opening kills.
And now they kind of managed to scramble Empire around as they have VIP and Penthouse control right there, but they kind of lost it now as Renewals and Crying both picking up a kill. It's going to be up to Scooter now to try and retake the likes of VIP, and not sure if he will be able to do so. Also, Joystick, in the meantime, from below, splits out a gun barrel right there, knows exactly where this one player is, splits out the hand now as well. Pre-fire coming in, that's the kill into Crying, gets the second one as well, that's a down into Red Groove. Beautifully played right there by the Russian man, as he managed to get 2 for, well, basically still staying alive himself as well, as right now Blue Bar is completely in control, but a quick down to come in right there. It's only up to Chate now, and it's going to be him that takes down that final kill as well. It's Chaos that manages to still win the round, even though Empire seem to be able to make some quick progress. After, of course, the first 2 kills went into favor of Chaos. They Empire's they managed to come back, but it's Chaos that took it in the end.
I think, you know, earlier on in the match, we did see an example of Empire losing 2 players very, very early and still being able to turn things around. But I think historically, when you look at a lot of their playstyle, it is clear that they do get hindered. And it would be true for any team, but Empire particularly, where they rely a lot on those players, they do get hindered when that happens. So I think it's kind of unsurprising when you see that Chaos were able to secure quite definitively those first 2 opening kills. They can take advantage of that situation. And of course, it's nice to see them get one of these defensive rounds in, because so far this has actually been a very competitive game. And I think when you just straight up look at the numbers and at the standings and you think, okay, Chaos, they've been a little bit disappointing to expectations so far in Empire. They've had some poorer games, but they've also had some really solid games. So yeah, sure. I mean, Empire, you would expect them to do way better. But actually, so far, it has been more competitive. And that's really exciting, I think, because one thing that consistently gets brought up is how competitive EU is as a region anyway, because you can compare those top teams and those bottom teams, and they're still going to be relatively close. So that's really nice to see. And you know, Chaos here, they're going to be coming to the first time that they're visiting it. And when we saw Empire defending it, it didn't go all that well. Chaos were able to make a very, very fast plant. So Team Empire just getting rid of this utility here in the doorway of service. Will they be able to do the same thing?
I was so excited because there was like the evil eye right there on the reinforced wall as well, and what you often see is like these Goya shields being detonated with the evil eye if someone gets close. But I was already aware like they should have to, you know, put down 1 or 2 ADSs if they want to make sure that they're not going to be able to just instantly take it out. But Joystick did it anyway, managed to get the shield out of the way. The ADS cleared, but his second breaching round did miss the Evil Eye though, so they still have that little bit of deniability left. And Shate also is going to be playing above, has this Evil Eye to support him. There is these vertical holes right there next to in Penthouse. So if he still manages to like stay in control of this top floor and Empire are not going to be able to deal with it, he might be able to get like some verticality out there. Scrying just barely missing out on Dan right there on this repel, not holding the hallway is actually holding theater room. And Scrying is expecting someone to get up these wide stairs. They're both really not watching each other. As
I
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I mean, obviously you can't see my face, but when he walked past the window, narrowly missing the line of sight, my eyes widened so much because I was like, "Oh man, it's pretty close. You don't want to get caught out there." And so far, he's pretty safe. In goes the frag grenade there from the Yana. Not going to be able to secure anything. And in fact, Dan's going to be taking some damage in return as his position is compromised. Seeing if he can get any damage in through the wall, but so far, no. And actually, Cryan's sitting pretty, for lack of a better term. Shate falling, and actually Renewal's going to be joining there as well. So completely opposite to what happened in the last round. There's those two early kills from Team Empire. Now you've got to bear in mind, of course, they are lacking joystick, but Chaos are also now going to be lacking Cryan.
Yeah, they definitely are, and it looks so good for so long for Chaos. They managed to stall out so much time, but now the vertical holes are in control of Empire, making sure that Red Group is not going to be able to play where he just did anymore. A double kill from Vito to come in. The man is absolutely on fire today as he brings it back to a 2-2 situation. He perfect though on the top floor control, and that means that right now the micro smoke bolts and incendiary or asphyxiatings are coming out, and Red Group needs to go aggressive. As a result, Shepard will be able to pick him up, and as Vito will be able to connect onto Dan. It's going to be Empire to win the round. I surely did think he was going to be hitting the head right here as he perfectly flicked on it as he walked by. But you see, even the hit coming off, but the crouch from Dan probably saved him right there.
You know, it's Vito. I think it's fair enough to expect him to have done that. But no, it was kind of a risky strategy there from Empire, who were just slowly scraping away, chipping away at Chaos and hoping they could weaken them enough that eventually they would be able to get those kills. Because obviously Team Empire haven't been able to make any plant so far, despite taking 3 of the 4 attacking rounds that they have had so far. And obviously they're now sitting here on match point, coming into Hooker, which they did win on round 7. The only time that Chaos have so far come into this site did work out for Team Empire. And this is when Chaos decided to come and play that massive utility sink defense that Team Empire were pretty unprepared for, and yet they were still able to make it work for them. But this time Chaos, they're doing something a little bit different. They've opted to bring the Pulse instead. No castle in sight. You've still got the Evil Eyes there from the Maestro, but that isn't going to be a Wamai either. So once you burn those ADSs, you don't need to worry about, your frag grenades or whatever it is getting caught up in the magnets as well. So Team Empire obviously going to be facing something a little bit different. And part of me, my gut feeling is that if they were able to deal with a defense that they were so under-equipped for and still win out with the eliminations, they should be able to recreate that this time.
Definitely should be able to do so, as that just basically showed them the fragging capabilities that Empire have on their lineup. And just by portraying that, it shows how scary they can be. I like what he does there, just quick burst of rounds into that wall, so it doesn't look like they're actually using bullet holes, whilst the sneaky little man will actually use bullet holes as soon as he gets the opportunity to. Also, that punch hole right there is just purely for distraction to try and bait them into shooting it. He's not going to be using that. He knows that as well.
Well, as the intel is going to be sent in, that Gemini is actually going to be shot, but now Team Empire know that there is a player present on White Stairs. I'm going to see Renewals back off there and bringing out the cardiac sensor as Team Empire start to make their way in. And obviously one thing we commented on in the last round was that they did take a long time to get in, but they are not wasting time here. A lot of that pernicious damage is going to be coming out there from the gas canisters, but Team Empire are able to secure 2 kills in the meantime, make that 3 as Shepard starts to put down the diffuser. This is the first time they've been able to plant, and suddenly these 2 remaining members of Chaos have to deal with it, or Team Empire will be taking this series. Dan is bleeding out, but it doesn't matter so far as Shepard does get that kill there onto Renewals. Cryin not in a position to be able to trade it. Can he get a kill for himself? He does. He finishes Shepard off, and now it's just a 1 versus 1 with Joystick, but Joystick doesn't win it out, and that means Cryin, he can get rid of this diffuser. And there's Dan going down. He was bleeding out. And Chaos, they're elongating this series out, preventing Empire from getting that win.
Joystick, why do you grab your breaching round in such a situation? You're in a one-on-one. He's most likely aware where you're going to be coming from, because they had an evil eye available, so they literally can see you if you're sticking out your gun. So you were going to get peeked. So it's just a question of time. And as soon as he pulls out that breaching round, he's instantly being peeked. And Cryin manages to get that kill, draws it back up. Well, not draws it back up, but manages to at least get that clutch out and bring them in that drawing range. But it could potentially pick up one round right here, and it would be very deserved, especially for the performance that Vito has put down so far.
So it's still going to be here on match point, but of course, the thing here is Empire now face the fact that they could be going to a draw. And it would be really funny, I have to say, if this does end in a draw, given that both these teams have only drawn on Coastline so far this season. And actually, if you look back at Pro League, these two teams did play each other on Coastline as well. Played A12, slightly different rosters. It was a different time. It feels like ages ago at this point. But it was Empire who came out with a 7-5 win. So if they can take this round, then they will be recreating their results from Pro League. If they can't take this round, then they'll be recreating their results from EU League. So either way, they're going to be reliving some results that they've already seen on this map. But coming here to the next site, which is going to be Blue and Sunrise, Team Empire have one more chance to secure themselves a win that they desperately need, and Chaos have the chance to secure themselves a draw and hopefully stop themselves from slipping in those standings.
Well, after that clutch of Cryin, I know that the hearts are racing for sure on the likes of Chaos, so maybe that extra bit of adrenaline is going to be able to help them to actually clutch out this next round and make sure they will be drawing things up and bring it to a 6-6. And have that completely balanced coastline to get into play. As the punch hole is actually being peeked right now by Shatter, has to be careful to not be pre-fired. Because they have a drone on them, they know exactly where he is, and as Dan gets the kill right there, cleanly the head taken off, the drone perfectly paying his worth right there.
Maestro is certainly not the operator. You want to be losing that early, especially if those evil eyes are still standing. And Shate's not necessarily had a particularly lucky day with regards to being caught up in those opening deaths. Chaos gonna be at the detriment here. There's that ADS just blinking away, trying to protect Cryin, but it's not going to protect him from gunfire. And that means Always can begin to move on in, and Team Empire have a definitive advantage. Oh, okay. Got to be losing Always there to Renewals. Pretty aggressive peeking there, but Chaos, they got to fight for themselves. Dan bleeding out as well. When you got these two members here in the kitchen site, that means that he didn't really stand much of a chance. Suddenly things evened up a little bit more, and Team Empire are going to have to fight for this potential victory.
And they definitely have to. I'm unsure, though, how Renewals was not instantly fragged back, because there's still two members who were in the office at the time when he managed to get that kill and rotated back out. But right now, it's a 3-3. We're counting down slowly. Red Groove is on very low HP, as all the members of Empire will be left in office now, as Vito takes the head of Joystick cleanly. This might as well become a draw to come in. It looks like they want to go for a plant right behind the bar right here. Renewals is looking to potentially go for a flank from CCTV and security. But they have to be careful, because the Red Groove still alive, still maybe has 1 or 2 smoke canisters left. Indeed, has 2 left, and he's going to be tossing them in any second now, as Scooter moving through, trying to get an aggressive angle. He wants to go for the cover, but that is actually going to be allowing Renewals to get a response right here. Oh no, he does not spot out the leg or the man planting, as they are both being covered by the softball right there. And as the last 30 seconds hit right now, it's going to be Scooter to go down. It's only up to Shepard now. He's in a 1-on-3 situation. It surely must be winnable in some universes right here, but I don't think it's going to be coming through right here, as he's up against 3 members of Chaos. They're all spread out. There's not enough time to go for every single kill. There's also not enough time to go for a plant, and as he gets tagged up, He's going to be able to potentially get one on the board, but no, he doesn't even get that far. It's Chaos that will be able to pick up the last round, and it will draw yet again against one of these giants from the European League, showing that they can battle with the toughest.
So heartbreaking there for Team Empire, who would have felt like it was so close. But of course, Team Chaos are going to be feeling good that they were able to prevent that victory coming out for them. And I have to say,